You spent weeks preparing. You rehearsed every answer, ran through every scenario, knew the material cold. But the second you stepped into that room, the exam hall, the boardroom, the stage, your mind went completely blank. Not foggy, not slow, blank. It feels like a betrayal, like your brain decided to abandon you at the exact moment you needed it most. But here's what no one tells you. Your brain isn't broken. It isn't failing you. It's actually trying to save your life. The problem? Your brain can't tell the difference between a job interview and a lion attack. And in the next 8 minutes, we're going to break down exactly why, starting with a hormone that is flooding your neural pathways right now without you even knowing it. Meet cortisol, your body's primary stress hormone. Under normal conditions, it keeps you alert, focused, and sharp, but under acute pressure, the brain triggers a cortisol surge, and what happens next is the reason brilliant people forget their own names in a job interview. When you perceive a threat, real or imagined, your amygdala fires. Think of the amygdala as your brain's smoke detector. It doesn't care if the smoke is from a house fire or burnt toast. It just screams, danger. That signal reaches your adrenal glands in milliseconds. Cortisol and adrenaline flood your bloodstream, your heart rate spikes, blood rushes to your muscles, and your body enters what neuroscientists call the fight or flight state. Here's where it gets painful. That same cortisol surge that's preparing your body to run or fight is simultaneously cutting off access to your prefrontal cortex, the thin layer of brain tissue right behind your forehead that handles everything we call thinking, logic, language, memory recall, problem solving. All of it lives there, and under high cortisol, the prefrontal cortex goes offline. Not metaphorically, literally. The neurons that connect your stored knowledge to your conscious awareness stop firing efficiently. Your memories are still in there, but the retrieval system is paralyzed. Psychologists have a name for this phenomenon: choking under pressure. And it's not a character flaw, it's not weakness. It's one of the most well-documented responses in all of cognitive neuroscience. Studies from the University of Chicago found that choking isn't just about stress, it's about where your attention goes. Under pressure, your brain becomes hyper-aware of itself. You start consciously monitoring every move, every word, every thought, and that self-monitoring is catastrophic for complex learned skills. Think about how you learn to drive. In the beginning, every action required deliberate focus, but over time, those skills moved into procedural memory, the part of your brain that operates automatically without conscious thought. Now imagine someone staring at your hands while you drive. Suddenly, you're thinking about your thumbs. You've brought an automatic skill back into conscious control, and it falls apart. That's exactly what happens in high-stakes moments. The pressure activates conscious overthinking, which disrupts the automatic retrieval systems that your learning built over weeks or months. Your brain isn't betraying you. It's doing exactly what evolution designed it to do. Survival always wins over performance. A lion doesn't care that you knew all the answers. Let's go one layer deeper. Memory isn't a single system. It's more like a filing cabinet with multiple drawers, each managed by a different part of your brain. Your declarative memory, the kind that stores facts, names, and learned information, relies heavily on the hippocampus, and the hippocampus is exquisitely sensitive to cortisol. Research published in Psychoneuroendocrinology shows that elevated cortisol levels directly impair hippocampal function, disrupting the consolidation and retrieval of explicit memories. In plain terms, the more stressed you are, the harder it is to access what you've explicitly learned. But here's the counterintuitive part. Procedural memory, the kind that stores physical skills and deeply rehearsed routines, is far less vulnerable to cortisol. A pianist who has practiced a piece 10,000 times will still be able to play it under pressure. A surgeon who has performed a procedure hundreds of times keeps their hands steady. This is why elite performers talk about making skills second nature. They're not being poetic. They're describing a literal neurological migration, moving knowledge from cortisol-vulnerable explicit memory into cortisol-resistant procedural memory through repetition so deep it becomes automatic. The question is, can we do that for complex cognitive tasks too? The good news, you're not at the mercy of cortisol. Your nervous system has a built-in brake pedal, and you can press it intentionally, the physiological sigh. This is one of the most powerful rapid stress reduction tools ever identified, and it requires zero equipment. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Then, before exhaling, take one more short inhale on top of it, a double inhale. Then exhale slowly and fully through the mouth. That double inhale reinflates collapsed air sacs in your lungs, dramatically increasing oxygen absorption, and the extended exhale activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system that counters the fight or flight response. Within 1 or 2 cycles, heart rate drops, cortisol levels begin to fall, and the prefrontal cortex starts to come back online. This isn't a productivity hack. This is neuroscience validated in labs at Stanford. There are other methods too. Cold exposure, even just cold water on your face or wrists, triggers the dive reflex, slowing your heart rate rapidly. Naming your emotions out loud, I feel nervous, activates the prefrontal cortex through a process called affect labeling, which has been shown to reduce amygdala activation. The principle behind all of these, your brain cannot regulate what it hasn't named. The act of acknowledging stress rather than fighting it begins the neurological shift from threat response to performance state. Regulating your body in the moment is powerful, but what about preventing the breakdown before it happens? 3 evidence-based strategies. First, stress inoculation. This means deliberately practicing under simulated pressure, not just reviewing your notes, but setting a timer, having someone watch you, creating the discomfort intentionally. Research on military training, surgical education, and athletic performance consistently shows that the brain adapts to stress conditions it has experienced before. Cortisol still rises, but the prefrontal cortex learns to stay online alongside it. Second, expressive writing before high-stakes events. Writing about your anxieties for 10 minutes before a performance frees up cognitive resources. The act of externalizing your fears quiets the internal noise that steals working memory capacity. Third, reappraisal. Reframing arousal as readiness instead of telling yourself, I need to calm down. Try, I am excited. A 2013 study in the Journal of Experimental Psychology found that participants who reappraised anxiety as excitement performed significantly better on public speaking and math tasks under pressure. Same physiological state, different cognitive framing, radically different performance outcomes. Your cortisol response is not the enemy, it's energy. The goal isn't to eliminate it, it's to redirect it. Your brain going blank under pressure isn't a mystery anymore. It's cortisol flooding your neural pathways, your amygdala hijacking your prefrontal cortex, and evolution prioritizing survival over the quarterly review. But you're not powerless. You can breathe your way back online. You can train under pressure so your brain stops treating it as a threat. You can write your fears out, name your emotions, reframe your arousal. Every one of these interventions has a measurable neurological effect. Because the brain is not fixed, it is always listening to what you do. The knowledge is still in there. It has always been in there. You just need to give your brain the signal that it's safe to retrieve it. If this changed how you think about pressure and performance, share it with someone who needs it. And if you want to go deeper into the neuroscience of human performance, the next video is already waiting for you.